Okay.
We're live.
Alrighty. Let's see here. Oh, there's a disc. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. This is Scotti Diesel here, and welcome to basically another music review. Basically, a new little series that Bonnie and I like to call the Review Bros Artist Retrospective. I'm Scotti Diesel, and as always, I'm here with my good friend.
Bonnie was on those Teapot 7 and the one that had the idea for this show.
Pretty much, pretty much. He had the idea for this show. I pretty much like being the yes man that I'm always am and everything. I'm just pretty much like, okay, sure, let's do this.
Yes, man. Well, that's not far from the truth. So yeah,
Yeah,
fair point.
but pretty much pretty much honestly, like there's one idea and everything that I'm very excited to do and such, cause yeah, we get to talk about honestly one of my favorite music artists and everything, and probably one of the very rare and few music artists I actually do listen to from time to time and everything. Weird Al Yankovic.
Yes, indeed. Weird Al Yankovic.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, pretty much for those that don't know who Weird Al Yankovic is, pretty much Weird Al Yankovic is pretty much is a known music artist and everything, known for his comedy music and everything, and definitely known for his parodies and such. So pretty much what Weird Al usually does and everything is that pretty much he'll find a song that either he likes and everything, or pretty much he'll also find a song that is very popular or trending at the time and such, and pretty much he'll take that song, do a little wordplay with it, and pretty much write his own little parody song based on the original song and such. And pretty much he's been doing this for well over 40 years at this point and everything, which is hard to believe and such.
Nearly 50 actually, because he start in 1976.
19. Actually, yeah, you're right. I think there was actually a song that he actually did record for Dr. Demento and everything in 1976, which even though it wasn't a big hit and everything, yeah, he actually has been doing this for almost 50 years, starting next year actually. But it actually wasn't until 1979 when Weird Al basically did a parody of the next My Sharona to My Bologna and everything, and pretty much pretty much when Weird Al sent that over to Dr. Demento and everything, pretty much that was definitely the song that definitely started getting Weird Al into the map, into being into the music business and everything, which was something that Weird Al himself never thought that would ever happen and everything. He literally did not believe that pretty much he was going to be able to make it into the music business and everything. He pretty much did it for fun and such and everything, and he still does it for fun. Don't get us wrong and such. But pretty much yeah, it was that fun little niche idea that pretty much got Weird Al into the popularity and the fame that he definitely deserves to this day.
Indeed. And so today we're going to be talking about his very first album. Well, technically, this isn't the first thing he released, because there were actually, I believe there were two singles he released before this album came out. Correct me if I'm
There
wrong.
were actually, yeah, there were definitely a couple of singles that were released before this first actual studio album came out and everything, and pretty much yeah, with those. Pretty much those two singles and everything. One of them actually was a little promotion, you can say, to basically help put Weird Al into the map and everything, and to the music business. One of them was another one, Rides the Bus and everything,
Oh,
which
of
pretty much we
course.
are going to be, yeah, pretty much we are going to be talking about that song because it's actually in this album and everything. And another one before that, one little solo single track that Weird Al released in 1979 was again his most popular song at that time, My Bologna and such. And pretty much any other song after that will usually be on one of Dr. Demento's albums as well too. So pretty much well before Weird Al's very first studio album came out, yeah, pretty much most of his other songs would definitely come from either Dr. Demento or pretty much from one of Weird Al singles and such.
Yeah. So this one was released on May 3rd, 1983, and it was produced by Rick Derringer. I do know who Rick Derringer is, actually.
Yes, pretty much Rick Derringer not only produced the album, but he's also an ace guitarist for Weird Al and everything.
Yes, and he played a solo for another artist we're gonna cover in the next episode. What
Yes.
artist that is? Well, wait until the end of the stream to find out.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, this was also released by the Scotti Brothers and everything.
Scotti Brothers,
Which pretty much like they're gonna be like Weird Al's like label producers and everything for like a couple of years down the road and everything. We'll probably like try to explain more of that as the years goes on and like pretty much some of the interesting relationship between like Weird Al and the music producers and such, because like there's a lot of interesting stories involving those two and such. But before the Scotti Brothers, like Weird Al's like one of the first like label companies that did like produce a record for Weird Al was actually a Capitol Record, and actually that was thanks to like the leader of the Knacks and everything when he heard about like Weird Al's parody of My Bologna and everything. He pretty much turned to like one of the producers for Capitol Records, and he's like, hey, you should definitely give like Weird Al a chance and everything. And I'm just like, all right, yeah, sure, whatever.
And it was just a single. After that, they just dropped them out altogether.
Yeah, pretty much. So pretty much Capitol Records like drop them off just drop Weird Al off altogether. But then Scotti Brothers came in and everything and be like, hey, let's give you a chance. And Weird Al was just probably like, okay.
I think that's the only song that by Weird Al that Universal now owns, because Universal bought out Capitol Records, so
Yeah.
So that's probably the only Weird Al song that's in Universal. But anyway, let me see if I have anything else to think about. Oh yeah, and also Capitol Records was the Beatles record label in the U.S. So
yes, that is actually very true and such.
So yeah,
and pretty much another way to promote the album as well too. Weird Al actually did like 2 music videos for 2 parody songs that he that pretty much are released into this album and everything. One of them being Ricky, a parody of Tony Basil's Mickey, and the other one being I Love Rocky Road, a parody of like I Love Rock and Roll and everything.
By Joan Jett, yeah.
Yeah, by Joan Jett and such.
Yeah.
So pretty much keep that in mind, because like during this time period and everything, like until we get to I want to say maybe like the early 2000s and everything, or at least like mid 2000s and such. Pretty much for every Weird Al, or at least most Weird Al albums, for most Weird Al albums and everything, like pretty much there's always going to be, or at least like there's supposed to be at least 2 music videos to pretty much like promote the album and such. And pretty much like the one parody will always be the very first song in like every Weird Al album. Pretty much as like some people like to call the big parody, or at least like the most important parody, based on like whatever hit song like was charting the billboards during that time the album was being made and such.
Yes, that is true. That is true. So, shall we get started on the songs? This is going to be a very short episode because it's the first episode, and
Yeah, pretty much it's the first episode, and honestly, like with Weird Al and everything, like most of his songs are pretty much in like a decent length as well too. So pretty much like what Barney and I are going to be doing, like we'll be covering the songs and everything, give our quick little thoughts on it. If there's any like fun facts or trivia that we want to like put in during each of the songs, we'll probably do it. And yeah, pretty much like at the end of the day, after we get done listing off all the songs, giving them our ratings, we'll give like a little top 5, and pretty much also give like our final thoughts on the album as well too. Give it a little final score as well at the end of the day.
Yeah. I should also mention that I'm on my end, I'm going to be counting the singles separately. I'm not going to be counting it as like part of the official score. The singles, I'm going to count them separately, just in case.
Yeah, pretty much like I decided to like I'll also count the singles separately as well too. So pretty much for each Weird Al album, we're going to try to cover at least either 1 or 2 singles, depending on like what kind of songs we can find on YouTube and everything, and pretty much like just pretty much like whatever songs we can find on YouTube, and which songs that like are generally at least like well known enough to like some Weird Al fans out there.
Yeah. So can I take it away with the first song?
Go right ahead. So yeah, the very first song that Barney will cover is Ricky, aka like I said, a parody of Tony Basil's Mickey. So go right ahead.
Hey Lucy, I'm home. All right, so this one I was listening to it right now as I came back from buying fast food in the car, and this is the one I changed my opinion on. By the way.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting on the drive-thru as I was waiting on the drive-thru. I took a listen to it, and man, it was funnier than I remembered it actually. I think it mostly has to do with Trent McNally's voice.
Oh yeah,
because
pretty much like for those wondering who for those of you like thinking off the top of your head, why does that name sound so familiar? Well, pretty much she's the voice actor for Dodd and Slappy Squirrel on Animaniacs, but you also might know her for being the current voice of Daisy Duck.
Yeah, she's the voice of Daisy, and when this guy mentioned to me that it was Trent Nelly, I was like, "That's Daisy, man."
Yep.
Yeah.
And pretty much, I'll say this right now. This is not going to be the only song. We're definitely going to be hearing Tress's voice for Weird Al musics and such.
But she did a great job with the voice. Like, her voice acting throughout the song is the best part of the whole song, in my opinion.
It is. It is. Pretty much, I definitely do agree with you right there, especially when she got that Lucy wail down almost perfectly, honestly.
Oh, she did it perfectly. Now, I will say that this parody, if you're not a fan of I Love Lucy, you're not going to get this parody at all.
Yeah, I definitely do agree right there, because pretty much, like, as Barney and I, like, we're thinking about it and everything, like, this is a fine parody in of itself, but as, like, Barney mentioned and everything, it's one of those parodies where, like, you could pretty much tell that, like, it is definitely outdated at this point, because, like, yeah, for those that, like, have never heard of I Love Lucy or don't even, like, like the show all that much and everything, like, you probably might find the song all right, but at the same time, like, at the end of the day, like, it's probably going to be one of those songs where it's like, if you're not a fan of I Love Lucy or don't know that much about it, then honestly, I don't blame some people for, like, finding the song at least either, like, forgettable or it's going to be one of those songs where, like, they don't really want to listen to it all that much.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Unfortunately, yeah, I do love the song. Like, when we listened to it together, I was gonna rate it very low actually, but now with this listen, it went up.
Alrighty.
So for me, let me go find my rankings here. So originally, this song was a 6, but
Okay.
now for this listen, now that I took a listen to it again, this song right now is a 7 out of 10 for me.
Okay, not bad. Definitely not bad right there.
Yeah, I will say also that the music video is pretty good, and I just love the wig that Weird Al wears throughout the whole song.
Oh yeah, me too and everything. And like, pretty much fun fact, yeah, the guy playing Ricky, that's actually Weird Al himself and everything.
Yeah, that's Al himself that I noticed.
Yeah, pretty much like yeah. Once you see and everything, like honestly, in a way, you could kind of tell that it's Weird Al, but at the same time, that like the costume and the makeup actually works just well and everything. That honestly, it could have been anyone playing Ricky.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Which are pretty much like yeah, for like any like shots to where like Ricky and Weird Al are supposed to be in like the same room and everything. They had to hire like a little stunt double and such to play Ricky and such.
I will say this also about the music video. The music video is like a little bit dated as well because there are some shots that are reused over and over again, and you can tell when you watch it. It's like they repeat the same shot like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, pretty much, and that was done intentional because, like, from what I understand, this was like the cheapest music video that like Weird Al was able to produce at the time and everything. But don't worry, once we get to like the later songs and everything, and definitely the later music videos, you're definitely gonna see that like artistic skills and even directing going up and up as we as we continue to listen to some of the songs from Weird Al's career and everything.
For a while, I actually thought Christmas at Ground Zero was the one music video that was the cheapest, but no, this one is the cheapest of all. Like, wow, yeah, you can tell that it's very cheaply done.
Yeah, pretty much. And a little fun fact: the actual actress Lucy Ball herself and everything, she actually really loved the parody and everything, and even wrote a letter to Weird Al like. Saying how much she enjoyed the parody and everything. So that was actually pretty cool of her to do that.
Yeah, that's very nice of her, actually. That was very nice of her to do.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, not every single person has been kind of nice to Weird Al at times when he does a parody.
Oh yeah, like pretty much like yeah, like just wait till we get to like just wait till we get to like some of the interesting little stories between Weird Al and some artists, because some of them are actually very interesting. Hold on real quick.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm back.
All right. Was that your cat again?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like they're trying to like chew on the cord and everything, and it's like. Well, not really like chew on the cord, but it's like something on the cord that they were trying to get and everything, and like I have to try to like stop them from doing that and such. So pretty much, I just had to pull it away from them.
Okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah, uh, pretty, pretty much and everything like yeah. Anyway, so it's pretty much like for me and everything. Ricky is a very good song and everything. Like, I do like it enough and everything. And as like the parody to start off the album and everything, it's fine and such. Like, it's a very catchy album and such. Very, well, actually, I should say a catchy song. It's catchy little song and everything. The music video is pretty fun in of itself and everything. Let's see. Pretty much like yeah. Even though the music video is like cheap and everything, you can tell that like it is very cheap and such. Like it's still fun enough to where like it can give you lots of laughs and everything. And pretty much like yeah, the lyrics and everything paying tribute to like the I Love Lucy. Even though it is an outdated song and everything, it's still a fun song that at least for those that like are fans of like I Love Lucy or at least like have a good idea what I Love Lucy even is to begin with and everything. They probably will actually still like the song for what it is and such. And even though it is outdated for some, like I still like it enough to where like I really can't really like find too many faults with it and everything. And I will say it's not my most favorite parody song that Weird Al has done and everything, not by a long shot. But this song and everything, like it's still a good little song. Like it's one of those where like I don't mind like coming back to it and listening to it once in a while and everything. Because I do agree that like Trish does a really perfect job in like capturing like Lucy's character and mannerisms and everything, and Weird Al also does a pretty decent job on like trying to capture like Rick's character as well too. So pretty much like yeah, as for me, even though it's not my most favorite song and everything, I'm still gonna give this like a very decent score of a 6 out of 10 and such. Like, because like yeah, I really don't have too many negative things to say on the song. Like, it's still just a good song, and yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say on it. So that's my thoughts on Rick. That's my thoughts on Ricky.
All right, so 7 for me, 6 for you, right?
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Got a Boogie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Got a boogie. Alrighty. So pretty much, got a boogie and everything. This is one of those Weird Out songs that basically, uh, ba- excuse me, that basically like does a little wordplay and such. Like, you think with the title like that, like it's going to be a song about a guy that like has a boogie and everything because of the jam and song that's happening in the background and such. But no, once we get to the punchline and everything, the punchline is actually like that. I mean, it's not saying he's got a boogie because like he's got a dance. He literally has a boogie on his finger and such, and he's trying to get it off and such. So pretty much, it's just like one of those silly songs and everything, to where like it's got like a little vulgar. It's got like some vulgar like humor here and there and everything. But that's what makes the song like very fun and very like creative in my opinion. Just having this guy like trying his best to shake off like the boogie and everything, but he can't get it off. Not even like trying to like I don't know go buy a sink and everything and just try to wash it off and such. But I guess he's not really all that smart to begin with. And just pretty much like yeah, hearing all the wordplay and everything about like a Weird Al trying to get the boogie off, whether to like shake it off, flick it off. He's definitely not gonna lick it off, which that part is my favorite. And pretty much like him going up to all these people, like asking them if they want a boogie and everything. Again, it's still pretty funny and everything, especially in the end where like the background students and everything kept shouting out no and everything.
You
So
want a
that part,
boogie?
no. Yeah, that part is actually very funny to me and such. And pretty much another thing I also like, the music actually really does like literally make you want to boogie as well too. So again, like the instruments and everything, and even having the the guys in the background like chatting that Weird Al's got a boogie. There's a lot to the song and everything. That like the more I listen to it and such, like I really do appreciate like the humor behind it and the clever little wordplay of it. So I don't have that much to say, so I'm gonna give "Got a Boogie" a 9 out of 10.
All right, so this one, I was listening to it on the drive-through again,
Mm-hmm.
and the galloping reminded me of a certain band that I used to listen to.
Alrighty.
Have you heard of Iron Maiden?
I don't think so. No.
No, they're a heavy metal band from England, and some of their songs have this huge galloping. How do you call this?
Mm-hmm.
Galloping music to it. And yeah, this one has a good galloping to it as well. I really enjoy this song a lot.
Nice. Very
So
good.
I don't have too much to say on this one. It's very funny as well, I have to say.
It is very good. I definitely appreciate the wordplay. Yeah, like I said, I definitely appreciate the wordplay behind the song as well too. Pretty much just taking like one thing to where like you think the song's gonna go one way, but then once it gets to like the actual when it gets like to the actual conflict of the song and everything, you're just left there like laughing your butt off like throughout the whole song and such. And pretty much it's very short too. Like pretty much just short enough to get the subject across just fine, and pretty much just leaving you laughing to like and to like to like the whole way of the song and such.
Indeed. So anyway, this one for me
Mm-hmm.
is a. Let me check my rankings. It's a 7 out of 10.
Oh, all right, 10 out of 10. Okay, that was all right. That's an interesting one for me, but a very great rating.
Thanks. All right, so next
You're
up
welcome.
we got another parody, and this one is based on a song that I really enjoyed as a kid. It's called "I Love Rocky Road."
Yep, a parody of "I Love Rock and Roll" by Jonah Jett and the Blackhearts.
Indeed. Now this one is one where you do need the music video to enjoy the concept, because if you don't have a music video for it, you're not really gonna understand the concept of it. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you read the lyrics, which still talks about ice cream, having the music video for it really helps the parody.
It does.
So my favorite part of the music video has definitely have to be the backstory to it. That apparently what was used as the ice cream wasn't ice cream at all. It was potatoes, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, pretty much like yeah. So pretty much anyone that has like worked in like filming before or ever had to like film like certain foods and everything. Pretty much like yeah, ice cream is one of those foods to where like you cannot really film it, or at least like you can't film it all that long because it's gonna melt very easily under the lights and such. So pretty much what they had to do was like they took like a couple of like instant mashed potatoes and such, and pretty much like covered them up with like different types of like food coloring and everything. And pretty much like one little funny fun fact is that like Weird Al even said this himself during an interview with GQ and such. Was that like in the one shot where like he was supposed to take a bite out of the ice cream cone, he turned he turned his head around for just a split second, and the real ice cream that he was supposed to eat fell out of the cone. So pretty much when Weird Al like turned his head back and took a bite out of the ice cream, what he was really eating was the instant mashed potatoes with the I believe it was like brown food coloring or something like that.
Oh man, that must have been.
And and yeah, so pretty much, needless to say, as soon as that shot was done, he literally had to spit it out and such.
Oh man, yeah, ice cream you cannot film it because it melts very easily. Like as soon as you put it on a cone and you start eating it, it starts to melt like this, like quickly. So,
Yeah, pretty much.
so I don't have too
So,
much to say on
so
this
pretty
one.
much like that's one fun fact, and another fun fact was that like pretty much like one of the lyrics actually changed and such during the song. What the original lyric to the "I Love Rocky Road" was supposed to be Weird Al saying like the folks at Baskin Robbins all know my name, but eventually like it got changed to the lyrics like all the soda jerkers know my name and such.
Can you imagine if that lyric ended up in the song itself?
Well, actually, to be fair, like I don't think Baskin Robbins can like actually sue Rio out for that because like it's supposed to be like a parody song and everything. So like, pretty much like even if Weird Al like did keep the song and everything, I don't think Baskin Robbins could have done too much. But honestly, like honestly, it really wouldn't surprise me that like Baskin Robbins somehow did find a way to like make Weird Al like not include them in part of his song or something.
Yeah, because what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say actually. Oh yeah, I remember now. George Harrison did it with Rolling Stone magazine. Like, and there is one song that he did that the lyric says, "Can't even climb Rolling Stone walls." So
Ah, okay.
it's not unusual for artists to make fun of certain corporations in their songs. So you know,
Uh huh.
you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Now
That's
I don't
very
have too
true.
much to say on this one. Now, if I had to pick between this one and the original, this one's tough because I love both. So, if I had
Yeah.
to choose one of them, I'm gonna have to go with this one. Actually, the parody itself.
Okay, alrighty.
Yes.
For me, honestly, like even though I do love this song, I love Rocky Road and everything. Honestly, like it's one of those where it's like I can see myself listening to the original a little bit more than the parody and such. Because pretty much I agree with you. Like when I was listening to the parody just in of itself without the music video, without the music video and everything, while the song is still fun and such, and still like memorable and everything, still has like pretty great instruments and such and everything. It's one of those songs where like I do agree, you definitely do need a music video to make the song like more lively, more memorable, and definitely a lot more funny as well too. Especially with like all the visuals that like the music video throws at you and everything. Like definitely makes the song like a lot more memorable versus like if you were just to like listen to it on its own and such.
Indeed. So for this one, for I Love Rocky Road, for me, it's a 8 out of 10.
All right, well guess what? That's the same rating I'm giving to I Love Rocky Road, an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Before we move on, let's go and check the chat because we got two people in the chat. One of them is James Lister, and he says, "Ooh, this is a story about a guy named Al."
Yeah, yeah. So pretty much like yeah, it's the same thing as it was last time. Or pretty much like yeah, that's part of the lyrics to Weird Al's theme song and such. To a TV show he used to had a long time ago, which I'm sure pretty much at the very least we'll talk about it when we get to it. But yeah,
All right.
and yeah, we also got one from ZJ. Pretty saying like he doesn't listen to Weird Al much, but but he does like his parody songs like "Eat It" and "Amish Paradise." Which yeah, just wait till we get to those two songs. Just wait till we get to them, especially "Eat It."
Wait till we get to Amish Paradise because I was listening to it back in the day when I wasn't a big fan of Weird Al. Well, I love Weird Al, but not exactly diehard as Zecoa is. When I
Yeah.
listened to Amish Paradise, I was like, God damn it, Al. Why? Why do you make me like this? And and you guys know that I don't like rap. Well, at least the ones that are casual viewers of the channel. But
Yeah.
Weird Al finally made me like another rap song. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
All right, next one is a very interesting one, and one that has definitely gone up for me in the rankings, and it's Buckingham Blues. So go ahead.
Yep. Alrighty, so Buckingham Blues. Alright, so pretty much when Barney and I, excuse me, when Barney and I first listened to this song and everything, pretty much like we weren't too sure like how to feel about the song to begin with and such. Now, pretty much I myself like didn't mind the song all too much. Like the only thing that like kind of irked me a little bit was the middle part like of the song and everything, the British part before we got to the end and everything. But then, like, the more I started listening to it, and even listening to it just recently before we got started, before we got started with the live stream and such, the more I listen to it and such, like, the more I actually really have grown to like appreciate it and such. Like, pretty much like what made me love this song and everything was pretty much more the instruments. Just like the instruments of like actually making it like feel like the blues and everything while still having like pretty much like the comedy of like a Weird Al, pretty much like mocking like the rich life and everything, are those that like have it way more better than like some of the middle class or even like the people that are like struggling to try to make ends on meat and such. Pretty much like it's those two combined and everything that definitely does make me appreciate the song a little bit more and such. Now, honestly, I wouldn't say like it's my most favorite song of the album and everything. But again, like it's another one of those songs to where like the more I listen to it, like and the more like I take in the lyrics and the music and everything, the more I definitely do appreciate it for what it is. And a fun fact: originally this was going to be a parody song, originally and everything about like the prince and princess at the time, Diane and
Prince Charles.
and Prince Charles, yeah. But pretty much like the guy that Weird Al was good at. That asked to parody the song and everything. I pretty much didn't want the song to be parody because, like, at the time, and pretty much I got it right over here. Let me see if I could try to find it. Let's see if I could. Oh, okay, here it is. So pretty much like yeah, the guy named John Mellencamp. Pretty much like yeah, the song's gonna be a parody of Jack and Diane. And when pretty much like John heard about the parody and everything, he was worried about like how this parody might spoil the movie deal he was going on at the time and such. So pretty much like he politely turned the parody down. And Weird Al decided, well, okay, I'll just make it to an original song, and pretty much that's the song we got to this day and such.
To me, at the very least, it doesn't sound like a John Mellencamp song. To me, it sounds a lot like an Elvis song if you think about it, because of the way Weird Al sings
in a way, it does. And pretty much yeah, that was the intent and everything, because pretty much that yeah, because John Mellencamp and everything turned down the parody and everything. Weird Al decided to just basically not only rewrote into the original song, but even rewrote the melody as well too, to make it into an original song instead of a parody idea that he had originally and such, which still works at the end of the day and everything. So basically, to me, I still like Buckingham Blues just enough and everything to where honestly, I like it just enough that, you know what, I'm gonna be a little bit more kind and give it a 7. Honestly.
All right, for me, this one hasn't changed in my rankings. I will admit that it's a grower, like you said. It is a grower.
Yeah.
And for me, this one gets a 6 out of 10 for me. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I actually enjoyed it. It's much better than the first time we listened to it. But I will admit, this is one of the songs where I will rarely come back to it, actually. So.
Alrighty. Pretty much before we continue on, we have a new person joining in on the chat. And yeah, welcome to the channel and everything. Pretty much we hope that you like. We hope that you like what you see and everything in the channel. Hope that some of the videos we have are something that you're interested in seeing. So welcome to the channel.
Yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. Well, today.
Yeah. well, actually, tonight. I mean, it could be tonight where this person lives. We don't know.
True. So anyway.
Yeah.
Next up is look what we got next. Happy birthday!
Yep. Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Bonnie! Even though it's only a couple days away, but happy birthday!
And happy birthday to you, Zecoa! Even though your birthday is 2 days away, but still, happy birthday, Zecoa!
Thank you! Alrighty! Hey, guess what? I just found out that the Earth is about to crash into the sun, but that's the reason why we should have a little fun. Everything is scary, and it's more than you can take. Here's a piece of cake. I'll blow out the candles.
Happy birthday!
Dude, happy birthday to you! Okay. Yeah, pretty much. If you guys can't tell and everything, Bonnie and I definitely love this song and everything. Now, admittedly, it's one of those songs where, if you keep hearing it, more often than not and everything, you are gonna get sick of it, a little bit and everything. Sometimes, I grow a little sick of the song, once in a while, but pretty much, anytime, I hear someone's having a birthday and everything, or a party is about to start, or something. Then pretty much this is the song I always play in my head, or at least I play, or pretty much I put on every time I hear the word birthday and such. And pretty much this song right here and everything pretty much captures the dark humor that Weird Al is known for and such.
Yeah, I can tell by the song. Now when you first listen to it, you might think, okay, is this gonna be the generic boring happy birthday song? But as soon as that song starts and you see how catchy it is, you're like, okay, this is gonna be interesting.
And not just how catchy the song starts and everything, but pretty much just from a couple lyrics and everything. As soon as Weird Al starts, it's time to celebrate your birthday. It happens every year. We'll eat a lot of broccoli or drink a lot of beer. You should be very happy because there's so much you can eat. Celebrities are there starving in the streets. Okay, pretty much right off the bat, you get
lyrics. I will admit those are some funny ass lyrics.
They are funny. They are funny lyrics and everything. And again, pretty much you ain't seen nothing yet. Just wait till we get to some of Weird Al's other dark humor songs and everything, and you can pretty much tell just how much of just pretty much what kind of twisted humor Weird Al definitely has. If you push him in the right directions and such.
This is my favorite lyric. Can I read it?
Go ahead.
It doesn't take a military genius to see. We'll all be crispy critters after World War III. There's something you can run to know where you can hide.
When the drop the big, why we all get fried?
Come on, boys and girls, sing along, okay?
Sing along, okay? Yeah, that's my favorite. And pretty much this is the first song, or at least the first song from this album, where it's actually a style parody and such. So meaning this is not a song where pretty much Weird Al is parodying another song outright, but pretty much what he's doing is that he's making a song where pretty much the music itself is a parody style of whatever popular artist Weird Al wants to parody that day. So pretty much for the happy birthday song in of itself, it's a parody style of Tony OK and such.
Yeah, Now, this is not the first. This is the first time he actually does a style parody, and it's gonna become more common as we go along with the next albums.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Especially with one album in particular and everything. So look forward to that one.
Totally. But yeah, this one, Happy Birthday, has changed. Has changed my. I've changed my rating on it actually.
Alrighty, what's your rating now with this one?
All right. So originally, this one was a 7,
Okay.
but after listening to it in the car,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bump it up to an 8 out of 10.
Alrighty, well, guess what? I'm also gonna bump it to an 8 out of 10 as well too, because, like I said, even though there are some parts of me that is a little bit sick of the song and everything, at least when I do hear it, or at least when I'm in the mood to hear it and everything, like, it's one of those songs where it's just like I still love to this day, and I still find myself laughing to the lyrics and like the dark little like humor like the song still offers to this day and such. So yeah, this is a 8 out of 10 song for me.
All right. Next up is, let me see.
Stop dragging my car around, a parody of "Stop Dragging My Heart Around" by Stevie Nicks and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah.
All right, so pretty much, "Stop Dragging My Car Around." This is another song where pretty much at first, like Bonnie and I wasn't too sure how how we felt on it and everything. Originally and everything, like this was actually like our least favorite parody song and such from the album and such. And in a way, like honestly, both this and Ricky can like sometimes like go hand in hand a little bit in terms of like least favorite parody song in terms of like at least like this album in of itself and everything. But I will give this to "Stop Dragging My Car Around." The way the accordions and the noisemakers and even like other instruments playing in the background, it really does make the song stand out and everything. It does like make it stand out and capture the silliness that the song like plays and everything, especially during the lyrics and everything, where pretty much like it's literally just like a Weird Al like trying to have a good day and everything. But no matter like what happens and such, like you always had something always has to happen to his car to where he literally has to shout, "Hey, stop dragging my car around!"
Now, and I will say this as well. To me, at least, it's better than the original song.
It is, yeah.
Miles better. Because the original, I was no joke, and of course, no disrespect to any Stevie Nicks fans.
Yeah.
The 3 times we listened to it, this one I was just sitting on the bed, just bored listening to it.
Yeah, because like honestly, like yeah, like pretty much like the original song is actually like your typical like little love song, or at least like your typical like love song that you probably have heard all the time, like during the radio and everything. So pretty much like yeah, if you're sick of that and everything, well, don't worry, because like pretty much you'll be able to, because pretty much with this song, it's literally just like I said, Weird Al trying to make sure that like his car doesn't get towed away, but no matter how hard he tries, his car's gonna get towed away, either because that like I pretty much like he accidentally parked on a loading zone, or like or pretty much like he was overdue with the payment, or literally like just one part where literally the guy just hated his car and everything, and he literally just had it towed away just because he hated it.
Now this came out in '83, yeah, '83. So this is 2 years before the Power Ballads came out. Now the Power Ballads were basically these ballads that the metal bands did. Like it became oversaturated after a while. Basically, the first single was a rock single, the second one was another rock single, and the third one was the power ballad. And it became so saturated that people just got sick of it. So this was before the power ballad. So
Yeah, pretty much. But honestly, for me, with "Stop Dragging My Car Around," even though I like it just enough and everything, the lyrics do like make me chuckle here and there. And again, I do appreciate the instruments. This is still one of those songs where pretty much like I'll listen to it once in a while, but I don't see myself listening to it all the time and everything. Especially when compared to like later parodies and everything. Like this one is just like this one's just okay. Yeah, honestly, this one's just okay at the end of the day.
Yeah, I will. I agree with you there.
Yeah, so for me, like I'm still gonna be kind because, like I said, like the song itself is still fine. I don't really hate or like have too many faults with the song and everything. So for me, I'm gonna give it a middle of the road 6 out of 10.
Same here. It's a 6 out of 10 for me as well.
Alrighty. All right. Well, now we're done with the A side of the album. Now we move on to the B side, where pretty much
let's flip the motherfucker over.
Yeah, pretty much like let's flip Weird all over and everything. Pretty much we'll flip Weird all over and everything. Make sure he still has his pants on. And pretty much like we're gonna take a look at another parody song from the other side. Pretty much this is the parody song that literally got Weird Al started in the music business. My Bologna, a parody of My Sharona by the Knacks.
Can I take this one first?
Go right ahead.
All right. So the first thing I'm gonna say is this is my least favorite song from the album.
Really?
Yeah. This is my least favorite song from the album.
Go right ahead. Explain. Well, go right ahead and explain yourself, Mister.
Okay. Jesus. All right. So this is technically this could be considered the very first parody Weird Al did. And for this being his first parody, it's okay, but compared to the rest of what he's done in his career, this one feels a bit dated by today's standards.
Yeah, pretty much. I do agree with you. Like right there and such.
When did the original came out? When did the original song came out?
The original. Oh, like My Sharona.
Yes. When did that came out?
My Sharona came out in June 18th, 1979, and My Bologna came out. It literally came out on Christmas, 1979. So literally just like a couple of months after the original song came out.
Okay, so this was around the time disco was dying, and this is when power pop was starting to become big. So I can understand why this one became a hit. And I'm not a fan of power pop either. So,
yeah.
So that could explain why I don't like this song that much. I appreciate Weird Al trying to make it a good parody. He's always a genius when it comes to writing parodies. But to me, this one doesn't work, actually. Yeah, this one to me is my least favorite from the album.
Alrighty. Honestly, I do understand where you're coming from with that and such. And, like, yeah, I do agree. Like, pretty much for, like, being, like, the actual first parody song or, like, you know, the known first parody song that Weird Al has ever produced and everything. Pretty much it is one of those songs, pretty much, like, with any, like, first song or first things from like any like well-known series or well-known artists and everything. It is one of those songs where pretty much like when you go back to it, either one or two things can happen. Pretty much like if you're one of those people that like that pretty much like have already listened to like Weird Al's other like parody songs and everything that came out way after this and everything, you might find the song either like too simple, too generic, and pretty much in some parts just feeling like okay with it and everything. Because yeah, pretty much you could tell that like, you know, this was a very like first song for Weird Al to do like, you know, do a parody song and everything. And but at the same time and everything, like pretty much like on the other side of it, you could probably still like appreciate the song for what it did. Because like I said, like without this song, or at least like without Weird Al like without Weird Al like releasing it to Dr. Demento and everything, like pretty much like who knows what would have happened to Weird Al had My Bologna not been like, you know, the hit that had not been the hit that like, you know, it still is today for some Weird Al fans out there and such.
And at that time back then, it was very tough to get signed by a record label, like super tough. You had to bust your ass off to get signed to a record label.
It was, and like I said, pretty much like, you know, one of the band members from the Knacks and everything. I literally think it was actually the lead singer himself, Doug, the lead singer himself, Doug, that like actually like was able to get Weird Al like into like a record deal with like Capitol Records to begin with as well too. So pretty much like, yeah, if it wasn't for like My Bologna, if it wasn't for like Doug actually loving the parody and everything, like we probably would not have Weird Al in the same way that we have him to this day and such. And that's actually a very interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, totally. And I respect this song for what it did for Weird Al, because it gave him a career, obviously. But yeah, it did. Listening to it now, you know, it of course it gave him a career, no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. But it just feels a bit dated, and of course it's power pop, and I don't like power pop, so that could explain why I don't like this song. So for me,
and yeah, like that's also understandable right here. That's also understandable right there. So for to me, while I do agree with you that like yeah, the Weird My Bologna is definitely not my most favorite parody song of Weird Al and everything. I still like it enough to where like, you know, there's still just enough like silliness to the song, and pretty much like the catch and pretty much even the catchiness like with the instruments and the recording and everything, and even like how fast paced it is as well too compared to the original and everything. There's still just enough within this song to where like, you know, I definitely don't mind listening to it like once in a blue moon. Like, just one of those songs where pretty much like we're pretty much like I wouldn't mind listening to it if there was like if pretty much like I haven't heard it in a while. I was just like, hey, you know what? I'll take a listen to it again. Why not?
It's fine if you listen to it once in a while. That of course is different. But if you listen to it critically, it does feel a bit dated. And because of that, to me, this is the only song on the album, the only song. Listen very carefully. That gets a 5 out of 10.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's interesting. All right. Well, for this one, I'm gonna go up one higher than you, because yeah. Now that you mentioned like your thoughts on like My Bologna and everything, I do agree with you that like even though I do like the song, I really don't see myself listening to it that much all the time. So for me, I'm gonna be a little bit more generous and give it a 6 out of 10.
That was probably the only song where I was listening to it in the car. That was the only song that I skipped, actually.
Really? Oh wow.
After a while, I listened to it after a bit, and I'm like, yeah, skip. But I also gotta mention this. I remember this now.
Go ahead.
The original one is like 4 minutes, I think. 4 minutes and 10 seconds, I think it was.
Yes, I do believe you're right. Let me check.
Go ahead and check.
Yeah, pretty much like yeah, the single version is only about like 4 minutes and such. I think that was the same time limit as it was for the music video.
Yeah, and wow, yeah, the original one does drag a lot after like gets to like the 3 minute mark. So I'm glad that Weird Al trimmed it down, because after a while that song gets really what's the word, really oversaturated.
It does get honestly, I will admit, it does get like repetitive after a while.
Yeah,
it's pretty much, especially when we get to the end, it's just him saying like "Ooh, my Sharona."
Yeah, after a while the chorus starts to get really annoying. So I'm glad that Weird Al trimmed it down a little bit. So yeah, that's all I gotta say for My Bologna.
And before we do that, we have another person in chat, Tayson, saying like, find a marble in the oatmeal. So Barney, make sure you find that marble in the oatmeal. We got.
Okay, let me go get the cereal box then.
we got pretty much we gotta make sure we literally find our marbles. Oh.
All right.
But pretty much while Barney literally go find his marbles. Oh. Anyway, so pretty much, yeah. Up next, we get honestly one of my favorite songs, and probably like, excuse me, my favorite song of all time from this album, "The Check's in the Mail."
Go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, pretty much right off the bat, like I said, the first time that like I heard the song and everything, and again, coming from someone that like likes a good little like I guess it's kind of jazz when you think about it. Like, I think it is still jazz at the end of the day.
Jazz. Yeah, it is jazz.
Yeah, it's jazz. So pretty much coming from someone that loves like a good jazz and everything. Right off the bat, as soon as I heard the finger snapping and the saxophone playing in the background, I was just like, all right, let's see what we got here. And literally right off the bat, like as soon as the lyrics started playing and everything, I was like, yeah, this is a banger song right there. And I was like, pretty much like the instruments and the lyrics about literally this guy like. Pretty much this sleazy businessman and everything. Pretty much like offering Weird Al or like whoever, like, or pretty much any sucker and everything, a deal and everything. Pretty much like the music literally writes itself and everything. Like just having a sleazy businessman, like trying to look all professional, trying to make it seem like he definitely wants to help out the little guy and everything. Where it's like pretty much you and I both know and everything. He's just doing this just to make the money, and that's it, nothing else. And pretty much like, it even says more in the lyrics and everything about like how this guy is so used to having like people suing him and everything, and he's just pretty much like, oh, you want to sue me? Well, take a number, all right? Like pretty much I'm already having a lot of people sue me already, okay? and pretty much like nothing would also top like. Literally the end of the song where he's just like, well, why don't you have a chat with my girl? I'll have lunch with your machine and such. Again, that's just like a peak writing right there and such. So
I actually thought this song was about getting tariffs or taxes in the mail when you read that title, but reading the lyrics, I'm like, no, this is worse than that.
Yeah, pretty much is way worse than that. And sadly, like, yeah, this is something that like it's still going on to this day. So this is one of those songs where like it's still relevant to this day, and it's still very funny to like anyone that has to deal with like people like this guy in the music and such. And pretty much that's one of the reasons why like this song is definitely my number one favorite song of the album. So honestly, I don't have too much to say. I'm gonna give this song a 10 out of 10.
You pretty much nailed everything I was gonna say, so I'm just gonna give the rating right ahead.
Alrighty,
So
go right ahead.
this one is 8 out of 10, and it's number 2 for me.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Good
Number 2
choice.
for me on my rankings. The next song was originally my number 1 spot, but there's another song on the album that just demolished it. So
Yes, and pretty much is actually the very last, or at least the very last parody song from this album. But yeah, it's the very last parody song from this album, and it's actually another parody song that actually put Weird Al on the map once again. Another one rides the bus, aka another one bites the dust by Queen.
yeah, everybody knows another one bites the dust. It was
Uh-huh.
the biggest hit in the United States. So
Pretty much, and pretty much like yeah, with the song, like even Weird Al himself acknowledged that pretty much doing a parody of that song was very easy to do because yeah, the melody was just so simple and everything that pretty much all he literally had to do is come up with the lyrics for it and such.
and you know who wrote that song originally?
Who was it?
John Deacon, the bass player for Queen.
Yes, yes, you are right.
He basically was influenced by the soul bands around the 70s, the soul bands, disco bands around the time, and he came up with the dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Queen, that song basically got to their heads a little bit because after that song came out, they released probably their let's just say the most disliked album ever.
Yeah.
But this is not about Queen. This is Weird Al. So go ahead, talk about
Right.
Rides the Bus.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, another fun fact about it, but the guitarist for Queen, Brian May and everything, actually found the song, actually found a Weird Al's parody song extremely funny and such. Like, he actually pretty much yeah, he really loved the song so much and everything. And pretty much like I said, not only was this another song that put Weird Al on the map, but actually this was the song that pretty much Weird Al made his first television debut as well too.
Yeah.
I forget what show he was on and everything, but pretty much this was a song that he played for someone's show and everything, and pretty much combined with that and the Dr. Demento and everything.
Was that the place? Was that the show where he met the drummer Steven Schwartz?
I don't know if it was the exact show, but I think it might have been. Yeah, because yeah, pretty much Weird Al needed someone to bang his accordion case and such. And pretty much yeah, one of his friends and such that pretty much came up to him and was and pretty much said to him that well, I'm actually a drummer and everything.
Okay, well,
and Weird Al just looked at him. Yeah, pretty much Weird Al looked at him and was just well, bang away, man. and pretty much yeah, he's been Weird Al's
drummer ever since.
Weird Al's drummer even still to this day and such.
Wow. Talk about a simple interaction, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much okay. Yeah. So the person that banged his accordion case was named John Starchworth. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name.
Starchworth. I'll take a look. I'll take a look in a second.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep talking about the song while I'll take a look.
Okay. So pretty much, at least to me and such. Again, this is another song where it's or pretty much it's very simple and such. But as we always say and everything, simple does not always mean bad. And pretty much in terms of the simplicityness of the song, in terms of both the melody and even the lyrics as well too. It's a very funny song. It's a very funny song, very catchy and such. Definitely captures the original intent of the original song. Another one bites the dust and such.
And yes, you're right. It's John Schwartz. Yeah, I said Steven. It's John Schwartz. My bad.
yeah, no, it's fine. So pretty much it's a good thing it's pretty much a good thing we double checked and such.
Indeed.
But yeah,
I was also going to mention about Another One Bites the Dust. You know who was also a fan of Another One Bites the Dust?
Which one?
Michael Jackson was a huge fan of Another One Bites the Dust, and he was actually the one that pushed the members of Queen. Hey guys, you gotta put that song as a single. And they looked at each other like, nah, that song's not gonna work. You know, it's not gonna be a single. But they put it out, and lo and behold, it became their biggest hit in the United States.
It did, and like I said, pretty much whatever song is going to be the biggest hit of the United States at the time, that's pretty much going to be pretty much more likely than not, that song's going to get parodied by Weird Al one way or another and such.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, it topped the soul, disco, and Hot 100 charts. So 3 charts. So it was everywhere by the time Weird Al did the parody of it. So
pretty much, and yeah, pretty much, yeah, like I said, pretty much like yeah. What I do like about this parody song and everything is that like it still captures like the original song and everything, but instead of like having another one, literally biting the dust, it's pretty much like just a person and everything about like trying to get off this dang like crowded bus and everything. But more and more people kept getting on and everything. He can't just get off and like pretty much making it like harder for him to like get off the bus and everything, which again is actually pretty funny right over there and such.
Totally. But yeah, this one for me, this one to me is my third favorite song from the album, and this one to me is a 8 out of 10. Classic parody.
Alrighty. All right. Well, for me, I don't have too much else to say on the song and everything. I do like I said, I do like the simplicity of it. I actually also like the little ending as well too, where pretty much like Weird Al is just shouting "Go," and then like you hear this lady in the background saying "Go, girl," and it pretty much just keeps on going just enough and everything for you to appreciate the song a little bit more. So while it's not my most favorite parody of Weird Al and everything, like I still like this parody enough and everything. It's still a very fun one that to me I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Nice. I agree
Yeah.
with the rating. Okay,
Alrighty.
next up is I'll Be Mellow When You're Dead. Take it away.
Alrighty. So pretty much I'll be mellow when I'm dead. This is another song where pretty much let me see here. I remember when Neil was just a kid. Don't control himself. Okay. Anyway, so pretty much like yeah. So for I'll be mellow when I'm dead and such. This is another song where pretty much or pretty much like at least to me and everything like the first time I heard it and everything like I wasn't too sure what to think of it and everything, but the more I hear it and the more I resonate with the lyrics and everything, it's one of the songs where pretty much like I still like to listen to it from time to time and everything. And pretty much what I like what I like most about the song is again the accordion in the background, but honestly the lyrics, like the lyrics itself, is what really makes me like appreciate the song and everything because like pretty much I could relate to Weird Al at least in terms of like some of the stuff about like how hard it is to try to settle down or at least like try to relax and such. Where pretty much like there's just a lot of things that like you just want to do with your life. You just want to like go out, have fun, like live life to your fullest and everything. Because like yeah, like as my grandma always says and everything, we're gonna die anyway. So pretty much like might as well like just get on out there, enjoy life, and just do what you enjoy doing and everything. And pretty much like yeah, this song pretty much like captures that feeling pretty well. Where pretty much like yeah, the only way you're ever going to be mellow or relaxed is literally when you're dead and such. So
Yeah, totally.
yeah, and pretty much like I like how Weird Al also gets like more and more aggressive, like in terms of like with people suggesting him to like do things to calm himself down, or at least like do whatever like trending thing is popular at the time. Like pretty much one of my favorite lyrics is him literally threatening to like break a person's arm if they ask him what's his sign and such. That part right there is pretty funny and pretty much like him also saying that like even health food makes him sick and everything. Sometimes I'm like, same Al, same. But so yeah, like pretty much the lyrics and the songs in of itself, like it's just a very fun song and everything. That like honestly, now I will admit, like when we started listening to the song 3 times and everything, I'm gonna let Barney, pretty much cover this part and everything because like he did have a little criticism with the song that like to where like the more I thought about it and even when I listened to it off screen and everything, I was like, yeah, I can understand where he's coming from with this criticism.
Yes, I remember now. I remember the criticism I
Yeah.
told it. It
Yeah.
does drag. It does.
Yeah, go ahead and explain it.
All right. So the problem with this song is that I wish Weird Al would have trimmed it down a little bit because after a while the chorus starts to get on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, like when we got to the part where like it's just him playing the accordion for a little bit, and even like you hear the ukulele in the background as well too. Like, oh man, that part right there, like I think I will agree that like he definitely could have like trimmed it down just a little bit more and everything because I do agree that like that pretty much because of it and everything, it does drag the song out a little bit more longer than it needed to and everything. And I could definitely see why some people would probably like start tuning out to like this song after a while and such. But to me and everything, like I still like it just enough, and I think like it's long just enough to where like it doesn't really overstay its welcome too much for me. So because of that, I'm comfortable with giving "I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead" a 7 out of 10.
For me, at the very least, it's a 6 out of 10, mainly because of the criticism I had. I wish he would have trimmed it down a little bit, but overall, the song itself is still pretty good as it is.
Okay.
Before we move on, let me check the chat because someone wrote something about Weird Al.
Yeah, pretty much.
Elias.
Like, yeah, he said, like, I remember when Weird Al was a kid from Linwood, I couldn't control himself in public. I have no idea what he means, but I'm just gonna, like, ignore that.
All right, so moving on, we got such a groovy guy.
Yep. So go right ahead and talk this one while I get a little bit of water.
All right, so such a groovy guy. This one is oh man, see if I remember this one because this was the only one that I left my memory because this is the only one that I didn't listen to before we got started on the show. I forgot how this one went.
Okay, so pretty much like for such a groovy guy, it's literally just a guy that like pretty much think of like this as like Johnny Bravo before Johnny Bravo was a thing.
Oh yeah,
where pretty much.
And I remember this one. Yeah, I remember this one. Okay, yeah. Such a groovy guy. Such a groovy guy. I think.
And pretty much like what I like about this artist, like how he's saying about how he's going to treat his women, where pretty much like he's going to pour chocolate pudding down their pants. He's going to give him like a good little leg rub and such. And then pretty much like and that's not enough. That he could always like tie them up with dental floss and everything, make him wear a harness and show them who's the boss. So pretty much he literally does start a groovy guy right there, doesn't he, Bonnie?
Yeah, he's such a groovy guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Now this one I don't have too much to say because this one, the problem with this one is that it's not very memorable to me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of forgot how it went, and I was like, please don't tell me, please don't fade away from my memory. Come on, I gotta talk about this song.
Yeah, pretty much. I do know that feeling and such. Like, honestly, there are a couple of Weird Al songs that are kind of like that to me in some places. So pretty much once we get to those songs, like, pretty much I have no doubt that like I'm probably gonna react the same way as well too once we get to those songs.
All right, but this one was still pretty good though. So such a movie guy for me gets a 7 out of 10.
Alrighty, not a bad rating because actually, yeah, that's the same rating I'm giving it. I'm giving it right here, 7 out of 10. Now, usually to me, like I have listened to this song like just enough times for me to remember it just fondly enough. But I do agree that pretty much it is one of those songs where like you listen to it and then sometimes like unless you're listening to it like once in a while and everything, like it is one of those songs where it's just like I can see why people like would easily forget it because like I said, like at the end of the day, it is just a generic song about like a guy thinking that like he's so groovy, he's so cool, but then at the end of the day and everything, like pretty much like you hear like just what type of like person he is, how he's going to treat his women or like just anyone at the end of the day and everything. That pretty much like it's just one of those like songs where it's just like it's still funny, it's still memorable in some parts, and again, being someone that like is a fan of jazz and everything, like this is a very great song and everything in terms of like having that jazz feeling within you and such.
Totally.
Yeah, but like I said, I do understand why some people like would find the song forgettable. So yeah, that's why to me, like I'm giving it a 7. I'm not really gonna be ranking it all too high, but it's still very like very good song from the album and such. Like it's definitely one of those songs where like I definitely wouldn't mind listening to it once in a while.
Nice. All right, now we got my favorite song from the album, the last song on the album.
Mr. From in the Ireland. So you know what? Go ahead and take it away, pal.
I see him most every day. And when I see Mr. From in his Ireland, this is what I hear him say.
Okay, this is easily for me the funniest song on the album. And it's got such a dark humor. But I fucking love it at the same time.
It does. Like, pretty much this is a song where pretty much like it not only has like a dark humor, but it kind of has like a little like a bittersweet moment as well too. Especially like when you hear the lyrics and like pretty much just like not only picture the lyrics in your head, but picture like the type of music that like is playing in the background, making it seem like making it seem like that's nice. Like Weird Al has a friend that he could talk to and everything. yeah, he pretty much has a best friend that he could talk to and such, and yeah, this best friend like is so kind to him. He's never gonna disagree with him. He doesn't tell him lies. But then, like I said, once you hear the lyrics and picture the song more visually in your head, you're left wondering and be like, oh wow, this is kind of dark.
My favorite part. My favorite part is this part. I bring him candy flowers every afternoon. Sit down by his side and say hi. And then I asked him his opinion of the world situation, and I wait for Mr. Frump's reply. And Mr. Frump would say, and actually, it's even funnier when he does this song live, because I actually saw a clip of him doing this song live, and oh my god, I was laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
And actually, the way he made the iron lung is basically there's this hole in the accordion that he pushes it, and then basically he moves the accordion around and around.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah. So pretty much not only is like a Weird Al genius when it comes to writing music or even just creating the melodies, but he's also a genius when it comes to like his own accordion and such.
Totally. And my favorite part is when Mr. Frump dies. He goes crazy with the sound effect. And of course,
Rest in peace,
yeah,
iPhone
this one
users.
is easily a 10 out of 10 for me. This is my favorite song from the album. It's the funniest one yet.
Honestly, you know what? To me, like the first time I heard this song, originally I had it placed like somewhere around the middle and everything, but the more I heard Barney telling me like how much he loved this song and everything, and the more I took a listen to it with him and everything, and the more I sat down and thought about like the lyrics and the instruments behind the song and everything, I started thinking to myself that you know what? Yeah, this is a very funny song. This is not only a very funny song, but the written humor of it, the dark little humor, and even like the bittersweet ending to it. This is just yeah, I do agree with Barney. This is a very fun and creative song that at the end of the day, you know what? I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. This is a very great song and such. And honestly, probably one of Weird Al's best early works, in my opinion.
Yes, indeed. Now, before we move on to the singles, let's do our top five.
Alrighty, who wants to go first with
I'll
top
do it.
five?
I'll go first.
Alrighty.
All right, so coming in at number 5 is Happy Birthday. Number 4
Okay.
is I Love Rocky Road. Number 3, Another One Rides the Bus. Number 2, Checks in the Mail. And number 1, Mr. Frump in the Iron Lung.
Alrighty, all right, pretty much a good list right there and such.
Thanks. Go ahead.
Alrighty, so yeah, for my top five is here's my top five for at least my favorite songs from this album alone. At number 5, we have I Love Rocky Road. Number 4, Happy Birthday. Number 3, Got a Boogie. Number 2, Mr. Frump in the Iron Lung. And number 1, Checks in the Mail.
All right, not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Mm-hmm. And also, once again, before we move into the singles, do we want to at least give our final ratings in terms of just this album in of itself?
Yes.
Or do you want?
Let me do the score real quick. Go ahead and
Okay. So let's see. For me, I'm also gonna do the score real quick. So let's see. We got 2 9s right here, 2 8s.
All right, here we go. So for me, let's see. You go ahead. I'm gonna be counting the score here.
All right, 3 7s and 4 6s. All right, so for me, my final score in terms of Weird Al Yankovic's debut album is an 89 out of 220. So that means for the final score, it's going to get a 74%, aka a C. And honestly, that's actually a very fitting. That's actually a very fitting ranking for this first ever album, a C.
All right, so for me, I'm still adding up my scores. So give me 1 second.
All right, take your time.
So for me, 7 plus 7 plus 8 plus 6 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 8 plus 8 again.
7 plus 10. All right, so it's an 85 out of 120. So let me divide it out real quick.
Okay.
And it's a 70%, which is also a C.
Yeah, so pretty much both me and Barney gave this a C, which, like I said, honestly, it's a very fitting grade to get to the first album because, yeah, pretty much like, yeah, you could tell this is a debut album right here and there and everything, which, again, like, you know, depending on like how debut albums usually go, like, sometimes, like, you know, they could do pretty well. Other times, like, they could do well enough, but then over time it might be okay. And honestly, like, yeah, I think that's the case for Weird Al's first ever album and everything, which pretty much it is to be expected going in, because like, yeah, this is his very first album and everything, so naturally, like, there are going to be some songs and some stuff on here that like that will work and everything that you could tell, like, you know, it's going to be something that Weird Al's going to do in the future. And then there are like other songs and parts to where like yeah, you could tell to where like yeah, it was pretty much best for Weird Al to like, you know, drop them as early as he could, like for his next albums and such.
Yeah, and this is to be expected. This is the first album. When you make a first album, you're bound to make, you know, mistakes, and it's completely fine because, you know, you just got started. You just got started. You're still learning how to record, still figuring out how to write a good song. You know, it's normal. It's a normal part of writing a first album. So, you know.
Pretty much, and one of the things that like Weird Al will actually change in the later albums and everything is that if you guys have noticed, pretty much all of his songs like have featured his recording in one way or another, which is something that like Weird Al has decided that like he's not going to be doing too much for his next albums and everything. Pretty much like what he's decided to do is that like you know, he'll only use the accordion if there's like a moment in it to where like he can use it for like a little funny bit, or pretty much he'll only use his accordion when he does his polka melodies. Which yeah, that's another thing if you guys have noticed. This is one of the two albums and everything that did not feature a polka melody. That's actually going to be a thing in this very next album and such.
Which I can't wait. I can't wait to get to the polka melody.
Me too.
So
Me too.
I was gonna mention also like the fact that this is the only album where there's an accordion in every single song. This makes the album even more unique, in my opinion.
It is. It definitely does make it. It definitely does make it unique. And honestly, there were a couple of songs like in this album and everything where I felt like the accordion actually did make the songs a lot more memorable in some places.
Totally, and especially the last song, "Mr. Frump and the Hour Long," like that one. You know, you know. The fact that the accordion
pretty much like yeah, like honestly, that's the song where like honestly like you definitely need something like an accordion in order to like, you know, make pretty much like make it memorable and make it funny.
Totally. And now before we move on, let's talk about the album cover, which is something I really wanted to do since we got started.
Sure, go right ahead. Honestly, like actually, you know what? Yeah, you go first. Pretty much like, what do you think about this album cover?
Fucking hilarious as hell. It's like
it is.
In a room. It's like he's in a room just playing the accordion, and it's like the room is like a fucking mess. But he's like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna play my accordion.
Yeah, which I pretty much like. Yeah, honestly, like I pretty much like. Yeah, that's actually a nice little callback to like what he said about like I'll be mellow when I'm dead and everything. Pretty much like, you know, he's not gonna let anything bother him and such. But actually, yeah, fun fact: if you notice that like. If you look very closely, almost every single image and everything, pretty much like carries a nice little Easter egg that like pretty much like captures that pretty much like, you know, pretty much it features an Easter egg that like lets you know like what kind of songs you're gonna be hearing from this album. And for example, like if you see right over there by the closet door, there's Mr. Frump right there in his iron lawn.
I can see Mr. Frump there. I also see the bus from Another One Rides the Bus at the bottom. Let's see what else I can find.
Yep, there's also the TV playing I Love Lucy. There's even the I Love Rocky Road and such.
I also see the double-decker bus from Buckingham Blues. Let's see what else I can find.
There's also the bologna on the door.
You know, to be honest, I think this might be one of my favorite Weird Al album covers because it doesn't get better than this from here on out.
Honestly, yeah, I definitely do agree with you because like. While I do like some of Weird Al's like later album covers and everything, this one to me is definitely the most creative out of like, you know, out of most of the album art we're definitely going to be seeing later on throughout his career and such.
Especially one
especially one in particular that I have a somewhat funny story about. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it.
Alrighty.
But yeah, I love this album cover. What do you think? Is it good for you?
Honestly, yeah, like I said, like this is a very good album cover to pretty much kick off Weird Al's career and everything. Because yeah, like you said, like I pretty much was like there's lots of like little funny bits happening like within this album art and of itself. There's like a lot, just like some good Easter eggs as well as in here too. And pretty much yeah, I definitely do like this album art and everything. I got nothing to complain about it.
All right. So now let's move on to the singles. Let me just get rid of this
Yes.
image right. Give me a second.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. Good time.
So now let's move
All
on
right.
to the first single, which is "School Cafeteria Day."
School cafeteria. All right. Go, do you want to go first with this song? Go right ahead.
All right. So first off, I'm gonna say I fucking love this song. I fucking love.
Me
this song.
too.
And reading the lyrics, I can understand why Weird Al doesn't like school cafeteria food, because I'm with him. I don't like school cafeteria food, and school cafeteria food is the reason I got burned off eating rice. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I can.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I was telling this to Barney too, because yeah, with this song and everything, we could prove that even back then, school cafeteria food sucked back then too.
Totally. Oh man, yeah, it does suck. At least for us. You may have a different opinion, but at least for us. Now let me read the lyrics real quick. Let me read the lyrics. Now let me tell you about school cafeteria. It's got all the others beat. It sells over 4 million burgers a year. Just think that's almost 2 pounds of meat. My ice cream sandwich is lukewarm, but my burrito is too cold.
Burrito was cold.
So you know, school cafeteria is the only place that sells artificially colored mold. Yeah,
I mean, it's
can
true.
relate to the lyrics. School cafeteria food sucks hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have too much
It
to say
does.
on this one. The lyrics speak for themselves. So I'm gonna say this song is a 10 out of 10 as well, easily.
And honestly, to me, I'm in a total agreement with you right there. Honestly, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 as well, because I pretty much it's one of the songs where the more you listen to it and the more you read the lyrics and everything, it is just a very true song to this day that anyone has ever had to had to suffer eating school food and such from the cafeteria and everything. And like I said, pretty much this was recorded in 1979. This is still true about some school foods to this day and such. That's actually a little bit sad when you think about it.
Yeah, totally. Especially the one school I used to go to. When I was younger, it used to be free, but now you have to pay to eat there, and they're charging a lot.
Yeah,
it's not worth it. You know, don't even pay that.
Pretty much it's not worth it to get diarrhea from there anymore.
And take it from me. Take it from me. I got burnt out of eating rice because of school cafeteria food. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so pretty much for me, school cafeteria, it's a very clever song, and yeah, pretty much even Barney mentioned this to me and everything. But yeah, fun fact, pretty much this song was actually recorded right alongside with My Bologna and everything. And when My Bologna was first recorded, it was actually recorded in the bathroom at the campus that Weird Al was staying at during college. And pretty much you could tell that this was definitely recorded in the bathroom and such.
Yeah, because there's a lot of echo. You can definitely tell in the recording there's a lot of echo.
Yeah. So anyway, alrighty. So now we got that. All right. So the very last song that we're gonna cover with the single is "It's Still Billy Joel to Me."
Take this one away.
And a little fun fact. Alrighty. So a little fun fact with this one. This is a parody song of "It's Still Rock and Roll to Me" by Billy Joel. And a little fun fact about this one. Originally, Weird Al was actually going to post this and was actually going to publish this on his album and everything. And he even had, and I pretty much even re-recorded in the studio and everything, had it all ready to go. But the two main reasons why he never published this song in the first place, pretty much one of the reasons was that he was afraid that this song might have been outdated and everything, considering that even though Billy Joel was still very popular during this time period and everything, we all felt that with the way.
The deal with Billy Joel is that he wasn't very liked by some critics, and this song is kind of like someone making fun of
Billy Joel's music.
Yeah, pretty much. And pretty much like even Weird Al himself like stated like years later like this is one of his songs that he's not proud of anymore and everything. And honestly, like when you listen to the song and even read the lyrics and everything, it's pretty much understandable why like Weird Al doesn't like the song anymore because pretty much like the one rule that like Weird Al tries to do, or at least like makes it that like whenever he does a parody of an artist, is that like he's parodying the song. He's not really like parodying the artists themselves or like mocking them or making fun of them or anything like that. But this song and another song that actually would get like released on an album later on. This is one of the few songs where like yeah, pretty much there's no way about it. It is pretty much like mocking Billy Joel and his music, saying that like the music is a piece of trash and everything, but it doesn't matter what the critics say because like he's still gonna make billions of money no matter what and such.
Look what it says here. Like this lyric kind of got me. Now everybody thinks the new wave is super. Just ask Linda Ronstadt or even Alice Cooper. It's a big hit, isn't it? Even if it's a piece of junk, it's still Billy Joel to me. Yeah, that lyric kind of
Yeah.
So
pretty much like it's one of those songs where it's just like pretty much you can look at it in either two ways. If you're one of those people that actually love Billy Joel and his music and everything, you might not like the song all that much and everything. Like, you might think Weird Al is being like too mean-spirited and everything, thinking that like, he's going a little bit too far and such, which is understandable and everything. Or pretty much like, even if you are like, even if you are a fan of Billy Joel or like, you like his music just fine and everything, you might either like the parody just enough to where like, even though that like, it is mean-spirited and everything, you might actually find some stuff in it to where like, it's just so mean-spirited and everything and so like cool that sometimes you can't help but to like kind of laugh on like just how much hatred this guy has for Billy Joel. I kind of like me because like the first time I heard one lyric about something about like a safety pins and everything, I remember like I kind of laughed a little bit because pretty much I was just like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Now, I will say I'm not the biggest fan of Billy Joel, but even if I'm not a big fan, I still find the lyrics kind of harsh.
Yeah.
So I respect Weird Al for not releasing this. I respect him a lot. So.
Yeah, me too. Cause yeah, like I said, like another reason why like he never really like published this on his album as well too. Like pretty much he felt for sure that like Billy Joel was not gonna give his like blessings over like this song and everything. So he was just probably like, yeah, you know what, like I'll just like drop it and such. Although it's actually very funny because like years later, like. Pretty much Weird Al would actually get permission from Billy Joel to actually use one of his songs as like a parody song for one of his albums, but that's like not till way later and everything. So we'll get to that when we get to that and such.
Totally. So for me, it's still Billy Joel to me. It's a 7 out of 10. It's not a bad song. I still kind of like it because of the harsh lyrics, but yeah, I respect Weird Al for not releasing this.
Yeah, and honestly, same here to me. It's a 7 out of 10 because, like I said, like. Honestly, like even though the lyrics are mean-spirited and everything, like I think it's the way, like the way they are mean-spirited and so like over-exaggerated about like how much Weird Al like or this guy hates Billy Joel so much. Like, I can't help but to laugh at it from time to time and everything. And pretty much like I also do like the clapping and the accordion and pretty much again like even though like this guy like hates Billy Joel and everything, he probably like even though this guy hates Billy Joel and everything. He probably still likes it enough. He probably still likes him enough to where, like, he'd still at least, like, pay respect to the original song just enough to where, like, it actually does sound like the original song when you listen to it and such. But anyway, all right. So, yep, that's all. That's it for Weird Al Yankovic, everybody. Okay.
There we go. I'm back. There we go.
All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
All right, we're good then. So yeah, this is all for Weird Al Yankovic. I will say I did have a lot of fun with this episode. For the very first episode, I did enjoy myself talking about Weird Al. Thank you for introducing me to Weird Al. As a diehard.
Oh, you're welcome and everything. Like, pretty much like I said, like. Is it like yeah, ZJ, like pretty much like still Billy Joel to me, like honestly, like we could actually consider that like a disc track back in the day and everything.
A disc track before dissing tracks were cool.
Pretty much. aka cool, but whatever.
Totally.
But pretty much like yeah, pretty much you're very welcome and everything. Like pretty much I'm glad that like the first ever Weird Al album and everything. Like you still pretty much like you definitely enjoy it to this day, and I'm definitely very glad that like there's still plenty of songs in this album that are now your favorites and everything, like Mr. Frump and everything.
I still to this day listen to Mr. Frump every night. No joke. Like I listened the
pretty,
first time
pretty,
I listened to it after we got done. I was like, let me listen to it again just for casually, and I ended up laughing so hard that I almost fell off the bed.
So pretty much what you're saying is that like you visit Mr. Frump every night. Do you bring him candy and flowers every night?
Oh, of course, especially when I asked him his opinion of the world situation right now.
Oh, really? So, so what does Mr. Frump think about like the world right now?
Oh, I know what he's thinking of. He says,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Frump. Your opinion was needed. So yeah, well, pretty much, Bonnie. If you like this, if pretty much you enjoyed this album, then just wait till we get to Weird Al's other albums and everything, especially the very next one. That very next one, I am very excited to get to.
Same here. Now, before we end this off, as we promised, what's the next artist gonna be for episode 2 whenever we get to it?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's very
Well,
simple.
pretty much like we're thinking long and hard, but yeah, I'll let Bonnie go ahead and explain himself.
Well, it's very simple. All I'm gonna say is that this next artist, they're much known more for their image than for their music. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I'm gonna say. That's the
Oh yeah,
they're much more known for
I
their
think
image.
yeah, I think I know what Barney is talking about.
Yeah. So that's the hint. That's the only hint I'm gonna give. You guys have to guess what artist is gonna be. We'll let you guys know in the
Mm-hmm.
next couple of days what artist it is, but that's the hint for now.
Alrighty.
So thank you guys
All
so
right,
much for
guys.
watching.
Well, pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Thank you so much for listening to our very first episode of our artist retrospective. Just something that you guys really do like, and you want to see more episodes of. Let us know down in the comments and everything. We definitely had a lot of fun, at least listening to Weird Al and such. So, at the very least, like if we don't like get through like listening to like all the other artists and everything, I definitely would not mind coming back to Weird Al again in the near future and
Me
such.
neither. Me neither. This was fun, and I'm looking forward to doing the other albums, especially Polka Party.
Me too. Pretty much Polka Party. The albums I'm looking forward to the most is Bad Hair Day, and pretty much the very next one, Weird Al Yankovic in 3D.
Oh, that one I'm excited for to do as well. But yeah,
So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this very first album of the artist retrospective, don't forget to hit that like button.
and if you guys want to see more episodes of the Artist Retrospective, hit that subscribe button as well.
And also, don't forget if you guys actually, yeah, if you guys do have any like artists and everything that you want me and Barney to listen to and everything, let us know. We'll definitely give them a listen. And if we feel like that pretty much they're an artist worth talking about and everything, then who knows? Maybe we might actually talk about them in the near future. So pretty much just list them down in the comments on YouTube for us.
Totally. So anyway, guys, this has been Bonnie with
Zecoa the Diesel.
saying thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys real soon. Take care, guys, and we'll be seeing
Bye
you guys real
bye.
soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.